Welcome. Oh my god. Pluto, come up. Come on. This is a nice sweater. Where's it from?
Sneaker box.
Sneaker box? Where's that?
There's several shoe stores, shoe sneaker box shoe stores that are located in the metro.
That might be a problem if he runs by it.
Runs by what?
The length, you see?
Oh, Pluto? Pluto's part.
Never mind.
Alrighty. Wake up. Wake up. So,
Another hour. Let's go.
yeah. We said 8:30. Okay. Welcome back to another episode. I believe we are on 4 or something. um but yeah. So today, well, let's just first, how are you guys doing
Sore.
from your
Sore from helping my teammates prepare for their fight this week, Friday. And then after this, I have to go help another team just support or assist in Chilliwack. So, as of right now, my body feels battered.
you're like sparring with him?
Yeah, we were preparing, we were sparring, so right now my body's pretty sore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's the fight gonna be?
The one today is gonna be in Chilliwack.
The competition on Friday.
Is going to be around Fraser Street. Yeah.
Okay. Hello. Celeste, what are you how you doing?
I'm running on 2 hours of sleep. Less than 2 hours of sleep.
Why?
Because had to help family friend Ryan to pack up yesterday and also get up at like 4 or 5 to drive them to the airport. Forget what it was called. I was like, oh, my brain is so dead right now. I don't think my brain's ever been dead. I feel it in my chest. Lack of sleep.
Just take a scoop of pre-workout. Just
so hard.
but okay. Anything else aside from just um so I was watching um this TikTok, and they they did this thing where it's like a rose, thorn, and a bud. So a rose would be something good that has happened to you recently. A thorn is something that was not so good that happened to you recently, and then a bud would be something you're looking forward to. Do you want to try that?
Like just in general, like.
Yeah, just in general. A thorn, or a rose, thorn, and bud.
Do you want to go first?
Okay. Um,
It's easy to ask questions, huh? On the spot, but not so easy when you're in the hot seat.
Something that has Rose. My birthday was just recently.
Mm.
Um, I decided this year I would kind of change up my mentality and make more time for things. So
Mm.
usually I'm always going to the gym after work. After gym, come home, eat, and that's pretty much my day. And I don't have time to do anything. So now I've been going to the gym in the morning. Been pretty consistent with that, and now I have more time to do stuff,
Mm.
which is nice. Um, a thorn, something that's bad happened. Um, I kind of messed up my legs and feet from running a lot. The shoes that I got, I don't know if it's because of the shoes or it's because of me, but
It's definitely you.
yeah, I'm getting a lot of blisters um, on my feet, and then my ankle is like messed up. My knees are hurting. I'm getting runner's knee. I'm like over exerting myself. And then my watch is even telling me like I'm like
Pushing too much.
training way too much.
Overtraining.
Yeah. And then yeah, it's pretty funny because every time I go running or like I'm doing any activity and I'm feeling a slight pain or whatever, my mindset's like Dave Goggins, and I fucking keep going and I fuck myself over. A bud, something that I'm looking forward to is the sun run. I gave myself a goal to finish it within 40 to 50 minutes. This is gonna help set me up for my marathon. Um, I'm also looking forward to that. Not running it, but finishing it. So I would say those are my three.
Sunrun is only half a
10K.
marathon. Oh, 10K.
10K. Not even a half marathon.
Yeah, not even half a marathon. Quarter marathon.
Yeah.
Mm.
You don't have to go in that order. You can just go in whatever order you want.
Mm-hmm. For me, I guess a thorn would be just constantly injuring my right foot. I think I've injured it twice today.
Today?
No, sorry, twice this week. Looking forward to.
Sorry, is it that same leg that like kind of got messed up?
No, that is not the same leg.
Okay.
I injured
Different
the
injury.
leg
Okay.
from last year. That was the left leg. This time it's more or less the right foot and right ankle area.
Mm.
Yeah, sometimes you try to play around in light sparring and you end up injuring yourself. So that's my thorn. I guess a bud is I'm looking forward to all the hard work that we've put into these um, teammates and fighters, and we're looking forward to their fight, and hopefully the organization or the people that are running the fights will allow, since my team has a lot of fighters, to bring on a few more coaches to make it easier for my main coaches. So that's something I'm looking forward to, and something good that's happened. What else? I guess Good. It just happened recently. Is that
Yeah.
that's a good one? Good. I guess. Good. Uh, um, I want to say. I guess I started doing jiu-jitsu.
Mm.
So
BJJ.
not BJJ, it's just like no gi jiu-jitsu. So I don't have the so-called pajamas on.
Mm.
It's just me in shorts and a long sleeve, rolling around with sweaty men.
Hot.
Pretty hot. So yeah, that's it for me. That would be my rose.
Okay. That's nice. That's nice.
Useless.
Mm.
Hey. Oh my god.
But rows of mine petal would be um I just recently hit my number of follower goals on my brow account
Okay. And what was that?
with 300.
Nice. Nice.
And
Nice.
it's just like kind of cool to see that I started from like just scratch, like zero.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly haven't been putting so much time to it, but the fact that, you know, um, I've gotten like a good number of views and followers and like engagement to it, like even when I'm not consistent. So if I did, but if I was consistent with it, then it would pretty much be like it would grow a lot better and faster. I feel, but pretty happy to see how far it's reached and um,
That's good. That's good. Congratulations on that.
and then the bud would be just like seeing the growth and just excited for it. And my prediction is that by summer I'll get to like 500 because it's still growing every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool. And the thorn would be my schedule's been pretty messed up the entire month. But like my eating habits and like spending habits, my sleep habits, like everything is just my whole routine's messed up. But I knew it was coming because I had to be a tour guide. But I'm also looking forward to getting back to my routine.
Okay, dokes. Um. So last week we did record, but Pluto, we did record, but or we did do the podcast, but it didn't record properly. And last week we talked about our careers. I want to jump into that next time, but this time it's about the pet peeves. So pet peeves. Um, it can be things that annoy you, or things that you'd like the other person to change, a reason, and just like what are your thoughts about on things.
Well, you should go first. It seems like you got a lot to say from last week that didn't get a chance to see the light.
So, holy, one sec. So quiet and chillax. Stop yelling.
I just proposed to Celine.
Oh, nice. Finally.
Oh my god.
How long have you been together for?
They've been dating not long, but actually no, it was pre-COVID too. 4 years, 5 years. Yeah.
Oh, walrus.
Alrighty. So sure, I'll start. A pet peeve that I that's his pet peeve. I hate it when he barks. Upstairs. Okay. Finally. How did he do it?
He was on like a thing. I guess he was planning it. He pretended like he wasn't feeling good or something. I think it was the nurse. He's okay now. Oh, Dusty sniped it.
Who's in the back?
No, I don't know. Who knows?
Okay.
Photographer.
Pet peeve of mine is the thing I mentioned was accountability. I believe that was one of them.
Yeah, that
So
was spoken about.
yeah. So to reiterate, accountability in just overall doing things and doing the things that you said you were gonna do. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. Just like knowing your whether it's like a task or like your schedule or just being on time or whatever. I know myself, I'm not always on time. I try to be, and I feel really bad. Usually, even if I'm 5 minutes late. Um, I don't know how you guys feel about that. Any comments?
Yeah, pretty much. It's also some form of accountability because there's different things that people will look at that mean more to others when it comes to certain things that need to be accountable for. But general umbrella would be accountability. Certain things that you would just normally do that people expect you to be accountable for that maybe you slip up. So it upsets certain people, but yeah, overall.
But when I I I would say I give like a couple chances. I don't harp on the person right away. I give them the benefit of the doubt that they're busy, they're tired, they have stuff to do, or they have a higher priority. But when I what I mean by when I bring up the accountability is like it's a consistency.
Mm, I guess if it comes to like personal tasks, yeah, you can hold yourself accountable and being consistent.
I just fed you.
But
Come here.
hoping somebody be as on your level of accountability isn't something you should expect
The level
just
that
because you hold a standard to yourself.
Yeah, but it also like there needs to be some like place of meeting in between, right? It's like if the other person is has his standards and expectations stuff like that, but yet he's still able to understand and make room for people to not meet those, the other person should also be able to try to meet in the middle and not just like, be like, okay, um, I'm not him. I'm not trying to be him. I don't want to be like that. But it's just out of respect that if the person's going out of his way of not meeting that expectations for your standards, then it should be somewhat in the middle as well, right? It's not always like, okay, I'm not going to be consistent about because it's just not who I am. That's just plain disrespect.
so like I when I ask um people to like help me with something or not help me with something or like
Pluto,
huh
Pluto,
oh
Pluto,
when
Pluto.
we work on something together or we both have the same kind of end goal in mind, um my expectation or my to my standard I would want to get it done right away. So the longer you push it aside, the more you're not going to do it. But instead of putting a hard deadline or due date, I don't put the due date. I usually ask them and ask them to provide a date or when they can do it by, or I give them, can we get this done by this day? And in my opinion, it's a very reasonable day. Um, so I usually get their make sure that they're on board with it before we like not shake on it, but like have that verbal confirmation, be like yes, like well we can do it, or if no, push back the date. Oh, instead of a month from now, let's do 2 months from now. Let's get this done 2 months from now, and then if that still unreasonable, then continue to push until we find a date, and then of course meet in the middle rather than yeah I'll do it eventually and then never gets done. Yeah, that's my pet peeve. Also, a pet peeve of yours is eating with your mouth open. You do that a lot, but you know you do you. That's
I definitely do it places where I'm like most comfortable with. Of course, if I'm at like a restaurant, at like a fine dining place, I'm not gonna do that.
okay. Fine dining, I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen, but you have done it at a restaurant or outdoor.
Like that's what I'm saying. It's like the environment of where I feel most comfortable with.
Yeah. What are you guys? Pet peeves?
Um, I think the main thing for also the lack of awareness to this guy here. I think you guys all know that, like, and I'm saying this like collectively, it shouldn't be one person's responsibility or being placed to one person's responsibility when we all have him as a pet. And I always emphasize this that, like, he's not gonna be here longer than it it than what it seems to be expected based off your behaviors, the both of you. It seems like you guys think that, like, oh, he's gonna be here for whatever, however long, much more longer. But those years are gonna go by because you guys are coming off like you're super occupied and busy and stuff like that. But like there will be a time where, and I'm sure that you'll feel a difference when he's no longer here, right? So the only thing I ask is that, like, you spend more time playing with him. You spend more time, like, being cautious of, you know, like right now, like he has like kennel cough, right? And it's just like knowing what to do, like his the home remedies and stuff like that, instead of constantly going to the vet because like he's gone to the vet for so much, and he's taking a lot of medication and stuff like that. But it's just like, you know, if you can put this love towards yourself when it comes to gymming or training for, like, now you're starting jiu-jitsu and then you're starting to run, but like what about this guy? Like there's nothing for this guy. And all he asked for is like your attention, and like just taking you out for a walk or something like that more, or giving him more playtime. You know, that's all he wants, and it's not much to ask for. So that's what I would hope for him. It's not more. It's not even more so for me. It's for him.
Yeah, I I agree. I've been not very. I've been neglecting him a little bit. Um, but definitely gonna bring him out for walks a little bit more. He doesn't like to chill with me that much. Like he only chills with me when you two aren't home.
Mm.
If you're home, he's at your in your room. If both of you are home, then I don't know, whatever he chooses. But he never comes to my room.
Because he knows.
Yeah, he knows.
He feels, and he understands, like, when you, like, oh, get out, or like,
Yeah,
when you don't spend enough time with him or hang out with him and stuff like that. He knows that, okay, what, he knows that he doesn't want me around his space, so I'm just gonna find someone else. But it's just like even the smallest things, like when I've mentioned to you guys, like, pay attention to the water bowl. Like, these are living things; they're not plants. And I get it, like, we were young, we didn't know better, and mom got him and stuff. But it doesn't mean that, like, we still neglect the shit out of him.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely neglect.
Like, it's a water bowl, guys. Come on. When you feed him, you check the water bowl. Like, I understand this guy's mine, and I take full responsibility for him. Like when he was sick for several months, like almost half a year, like I took so much time bringing him, took the time to be in the washroom and literally potty train him all over again. And it took a lot of my time, but I know because I made the decision to get him, and it became my full responsibility. It's part of, like, caretaking, and same with that guy too. And I take it as like a learning lesson too. It's like when you guys have kids in the future, it's like you're not gonna neglect your own child just because your life is so busy and work gets busy, right? So it's like a way to practice about it too.
I think
I
that
know he gets annoyed, but yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Um, it frustrates me sometimes because I want to train him, and when I'm around and no one else is around, he doesn't bark that much. But when you guys come home, he barks a lot, and there are things that I've like kind of trained him in terms of like how like when like just not barking, whether it's like
Are you training him that he's not barking, or is it because he has like no interest?
no, when like he wants food, like he doesn't bark that much when I'm feeding him. Um, he knows, or like I'm training him to wait to get food before getting food, and like whenever I come home, that's a big one. Rather than jumping on him and always like petting him and like getting super excited, and
I
he's
tell him to go upstairs.
I just sit down and then I wait for him to sit down.
I tell him to go upstairs because he's like just way too. The environment that he's in is just way too excited because
Yeah,
he's associating downstairs as like, oh my god, like they're finally home and stuff like that. So either or, like removal of environment or like waiting him out is like. But at the end of the day, it's like instead of trying to control the situation, is what I've learned is that like from my experience of like with kids and stuff like that is that like it's been so long to develop this type of like characteristic, right? And it's really tough
break it.
to break it, right? To break that pattern.
No, yeah,
The best way is to either modify the way that you're addressing the situation or you accommodate to it.
I think at this point he's so old.
no, he can still train.
He still can. It's just that you need to require a lot of patience and time with him.
Yeah,
Like he's really smart. Like when he like when you give him a treat, he gets super excited and like just like like that, just like. But like you tell him gentle, and he understands. Like he like goes slowly, and then he goes like that. He understands that. He knows.
yeah, yeah. I neglect him because I find him annoying sometimes, and when I try to train him, it's
Yeah,
like
you
it's
can't take him
frustrating.
away.
I know, I know. But it's my kids though. I'll be raising them. I'll be raising them.
Yeah, for me, pet peeves, man. Maybe not so broad of terms, but maybe like small little things.
Sure.
Um,
It can be like day to day living habits or whatever.
well, it isn't that big of a deal because I just end up doing it anyways. Or it's when I guess
Oh,
well, no, if you're not done, go ahead.
no, I think like I was gonna add to it. It was mainly also one thing like the mornings. Like I get it. Like I have purposely not fed him and fed him instead because there was a time where I fed them almost every single day and I choose to do it, right? But at the same time, yes, should also choose to do it as well, right? It's not just like okay, all that responsibility goes to like I mentioned to that one person. So even just like taking him out to go pee, like it doesn't necessarily have to be in the morning. It's like the human needs to pee morning, night, right? They go several throughout the day. How about a dog, right? And you guys don't see it like when he doesn't go and he holds it for so long, his pee is like so dark and yellow, and that's so unhealthy for him, even for let alone a human, and it's kind of like a torture, right? Because he's unaware, and he knows in his head I can't pee in the house, so I'm holding it in, and like there's like lack of water, so what the hell did I do? at this point now, it's like he doesn't know, and he only thinks is okay. I can't be in the house because they're gonna get mad at me. So it becomes our fault actually because you know our job is to actually feed him clean water, give him water so that he goes good, and then to prevent him from peeing in the house. It's not our fault. I mean, it's not his fault. It's our fault. It's absolutely 100% our fault that he pees in the house. But there's no issue for him to. There's no problem for him to not pee outside. He does it the moment we let him out. So the best way is like, you know, you come home, you see him, take him right outside before you come inside.
That's the issue though. Like, there's no set time for him to use the washroom. It's pretty much kind of routine and clockwork. If you have a good routine with him,
Yeah, he'll stick
every,
with it.
he'll stick with it. And
He
if
knows, and he barks when
everybody
he
comes
sees me.
home and around within the within the span of, I would say, 2 to 3 hours, every
Creating that
everyone.
clockwork time routine, it's not on him. It's on us.
But that
I've
goes
also
back to
tried.
saying
I've,
that you saying every time you come home you bring him out. But if I let's say you come home first, you bring him out 3 o'clock,
mhm.
bring him out. Mom comes home 3:30, brings him out.
I don't know. You know what? I don't count mom and dad doing it because their brain, the way that they function is that they have other things that are much more of a priority. But I never already understood that. But for you guys, there's no excuses because you guys can still remember to do that. For them, it's a little different because I've tried and tested it out. Is really tough on them. So I don't expect that. So the three of us, we can still manage to do that. And having that clockwork, if you really want to start that, we can. But I've made a plan before of what his routine is like, right? But it didn't even last.
Yeah, it didn't
And
last
you
like a
and
week or
that's what
two.
I'm saying is that like I've tried to build routines with you guys, especially for him, but it doesn't last. So I've only accepted the fact that it's like that with you guys, and what we could do is just prevent from him from having dark pee and healthy water. As like that's the basic thing that he should just have.
I'm okay with just like everybody coming home, and if he doesn't,
You can
um,
tell though. You take him out and you'll know it's like you take him out and then it doesn't hurt to like walk outside like the alleyway and then if he needs to go really bad he'll go right away. But if you know like it's just he's just kind of smelling a little bit going blah 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 and then like okay let's go back inside. But like, it's nice for him just to be outside to see the phone thing. I'm sorry, I'm speaking Chinese now, but yeah.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like it, when it really doesn't matter. Like routine, no routine. It's nice for him to just step outside and just, like you said, smell the grass or
Touch grass.
touch the grass and
Yeah.
feel
Like look
the
at this guy. He
ground.
wants to be out every single time the
Yeah.
door's
So
open. Right?
yeah.
I mean I don't expect you guys to let him out when he's out.
I
I mean
let him out.
it would be great.
I let him
Dad
out
lets him
during
out. Nick
That's why
lets
he
him out.
fucking loves dad.
I never let him out.
when I work from home. I let him out for a little bit. He loves it. He eats grass a lot.
Please don't let him eat the grass.
Yeah, I don't let him.
He really throws up. And also that grass is all moldy from his shit.
Yeah. We can plant some cat grass.
I know I saw it.
He can eat it.
You showed me on the reel.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool to see that.
Sorry, yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say.
But
You're saying.
Me, it's not that big of a deal because like I said, I do it anyways. But seems like you could, well, it has to do with like recycling and garbage. I don't live upstairs. I don't go upstairs a lot, if any. But at least like if we're all gonna head out, we should at least just take the garbage and toss it, or at least separate the recycling. I know I do most of the recycling. I bag it. I bring it to the recycling, and then it gets all collected into like an account that I don't touch. So I've just been collecting all this because I started like a can drive for a charity. So I just routinely continue to do it.
You remind me of those like
Old grandpas and grandmas
on their
strolling
bikes,
around
yeah.
on their bikes, going to
And
everybody's
then
blue
I
bin.
remember one point, I think you got so mad that like they were going through ours, and you're like, "That's mine," and
That's
stuff
mine.
like that. And that's how you made it closer to like the
I ganked it
storage
a
doors.
lot closer to the storage,
Yeah.
and I would bag it and I would hide it behind
Yeah.
the garbage can.
At
Because
one
if
point, I was like, "Why is all back here? There's so much back
so
here."
much,
And then it's just like, oh, maybe because you were trying to prevent it from those like old grandpas and like grandmas from stealing it from ours.
I guess it's a little bit to do with both your little like umbrella terms like situational awareness. It's like, didn't garbage being put out or food being put out cause him to have problems, right? I know some stuff may not be the most pleasant thing to do, but it has to be done, right? Like, you're not gonna let garbage rot in our kitchen. Um, like, I'm aware every 2 weeks we have our garbage to come out of. So what I do, at least if I have time, or my area, before I go to work, I'll bag up a bunch of garbages and I'll just throw it. Or if I do happen to go upstairs, I see garbage, I'll take it because it's the garbage day. So that's like situational awareness that, like, I'm not saying I always do it because of what I'm put in, but
Sorry, where is that one red?
That's fine.
I think there's like that example, and there's also the fact is like when we're asked by mom and dad to do something, no one wants to do it because you assume that the other person's gonna do it anyways. Like, I know we all have stuff to do, and when we were asked for help, it's like we'll start, oh,
No, I don't know.
why can't this
Can you give me an
why can't
example?
this person do it? Why can't this person do it? Or it's like, it could be done faster with obviously more people. So
What? Give it an example, because the way I see it is that like I've definitely put myself in a position where I haven't been putting it on a blame of, okay, why can't you go to them, or why can't you go to Nick or Bowen? So if you can elaborate to a certain example, then I'll try to understand what you're saying. But like,
example would be maybe like tenant stuff. It's like already put upon me, but sometimes I would need some help if I can't do it, or you guys assume if it's like just tenant stuff, it's like only me, or if it's like something like you guys are doing, it's just only you, so it's never like expected of other people to lend a hand. That's an example. So that makes me frustrated, and then in terms of like pointing fingers, that's when I started like, hey, I got stuff to do. Why is it directly, automatically go straight to me?
I think instead of
Hey.
no, come here, come here. I guess like to address the frustration, what you can do is, you know, come to us and ask us instead of letting out your frustration towards mom and dad. Like they're already just as frustrated with not knowing how to do it. So one thing that you can do to alleviate the stress that's going around the room is like by asking us. Because like, even for me, it's like, I realize that mom and dad put certain responsibilities to people and specifically us because they know that we can do a good job on it. It's not because like they expect it from us, because they know that we can handle it and they've seen it done before. So that's what their assumption is. Like, the rental thing is you. Like for me, it would be like the pets, like doctor, appointments, and just like hair, anything that comes to caretaking with these animals. It's like they always come to me like, oh, do this, or like, can you try this? Can you like you do whatever, right? Oh, what's wrong, or something like that, right? I don't know the responsibility that they have on me and stuff like that. But that's what I'm saying. It's just like I'm like vocalizing about, okay, some of the things that could help alleviate the stress that I have, or like the amount of job or the workload of it is like, can you guys try to do this with Pluto and stuff, play with him or bring him out. So in the future, what you can do is alleviate that is like, hey, yo, Nick, Celeste, can you help this with mom and dad?
I have.
No, but like I haven't received it often. What I receive is a lot of your frustration let out upon mom and dad. Pluto, come up here. Come up. Come. What can you be like? Why can't you be like Leo? Huh? Dude, look at that face. Like that mouth that opens. Who do you want, punk? Huh? What do you want? Huh?
I guess it's like it gets to a point where it's expected of everyone. So I
Go.
just
Go ahead.
I lost the train of thought.
Come here. Come up here. Huh? Come up here. Come. Pluto. Come here. Now.
Mm,
Hey. Come up here.
I guess it's also like
Come up here.
there's certain things that they tasked us with, but it'd be nice to, I guess, get a second hand,
No.
or at least be asked about it. Because a lot of times it's like, yeah, Leo's not my pet, but you know, he lives with us. He's part of our family, and as much as I don't like ask too much about like his health, I know when he's not feeling good, but I still ask you about it. So it's like, oh, if you know, if I'm doing something, or if you're tasked with something,
Bruno!
I'm always following up to make sure things are okay with you. So follow ups would be appreciated. That's where I'm going at. He's not gonna stop. But yeah, those are like maybe specifics as opposed to bigger umbrella terms.
So you want us to follow up with you and ask how the apartments and stuff are doing?
Or just like big tasks, or just like I knew he was having problems. I followed up so much and so closely with Pluto's surgery, right? And of course, I always thank you for taking your time to go and setting appointments, going to see him. And yeah, I do. I immediately rush out of work or leave early just to like be present, so I know the situation. I understand that mom and dad don't have the best communication because due to language. So at least I want to be there, or just have an extra set of ears, or maybe have a different set of perspective, so you can like better the situation. There's always ways to better the situation, and just be, yeah, like, aware or attentive, and you know give a little feedback, or like a checkup. Like, everybody has their own certain things to do personally, but yeah, we do live under the same roof. And if there's something big going on, it's like, it would be nice to get a quick checkup to see, oh, are you doing okay? You know, is there anything else I can do to help? If you want me to just leave you alone, let you concentrate, sure. So it's a little bit of what you said, but more specific into situations. But like, then again, it's like, it's there's never stuff that like puts me at like a, like you said, uh, like like a pet peeve, because at that point it's just like, okay, maybe I'll just go do it myself. Because really, I'm not gonna force you physically to go do something to please me. I will fix it myself, or like, because it's bothering me. So like, for example, the garbage recycling, I'll just go and do it. I'm not gonna go and like yell at everybody for like, not putting, or putting like recycling in the garbage. Like, again, that's like little things, because at one point maybe I'll think it's like such a big deal, but if I go and do it, and just keep quiet and do it myself, then that makes me happy. That would be like, oh, something that I just kind of like, the pet peeve, like, no, is no longer there. I'm no longer thinking about it so hard. It's just like, oh, task is done, move on.
I think if you want help with that, like bring it up to us more often.
Yeah, I think that's
I
pretty much what I've transitioned to like, if
but
I'm doing it,
it
I'll do it, but then of course, like, I'll be upset, but then I'm just like, okay, once it's done, it's done.
like
So
at that
I
point you're just internalizing it,
yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
and
I'm
it's
gonna get to. I'm internalizing it, and then, um, only person hurting, I'm hurting is myself, because I'm not expressing it. I'm not letting you guys know, like, hey, this is bothering me. I need help, and all this responsibility is being put on me, but then I have like no,
it's
checkups.
so yeah, it it does come with like communication,
Yeah.
and we don't know that. I can't read your mind. I'm not always looking at your face.
No, but you hear the frustration. You hear the arguments that I have with mom and dad.
That's when we step in.
Yeah.
But
And
that's only,
sometimes it's
but
already
that's
too late.
exactly. So
Yeah.
that's why before it gets to any of the you getting frustrated,
But even
just
prior
bring it,
to the
just bringing it up.
prior to being angry, it's like, oh, it's, I don't know if you guys hear it or not, but it's like, we do talk about it quite openly, of something that needs to be done, and it's like, you know,
Uh, if no one is directly talking to me, I'm not
But you can't
paying
expect,
attention.
yeah, you
yeah.
can't
I
expect
think it's
us
like
for
the
us to pay attention, right? You can't expect something that's not being is not being vocalized, right? Directly at us.
Yeah, that's
It's like
my problem. I think I expect the it's the expectation.
what I've noticed is like the way I see it's like this is like a pattern. It's like any of us like our pet peeves or something like that, or what we expect of others. It's like
Mm-hmm.
we want them to do something. Like for example, we want you guys to do something, and then we say it, we verbalize, right? But then it doesn't happen, and then we get frustrated. So we end up thinking, okay, you know what? Instead of like putting ourselves in a position of being upset, then we just do it ourselves. But then we don't fully address it. We internalize what he says, and it goes back to like that whole that frustration is still there, and we go back to trying to remind each other and stuff like that. But then the best way for me, what I've learned of accepting this type of situation is literally acceptance. Is accepting the fact that, like, you've tried full circle of reminding, it doesn't happen. You do it yourself, but then the frustration's still there, and you go back to that cycle of reminding, and then I do it myself, and then you're frustrated. But ultimately, what stops that cycle is accepting the fact that, what, that's just how it is. Nothing's going to change. The only thing that can change is your perspective on it, and the frustration, um, and accepting that it's just how it is, and that you won't feel that frustration anymore, because like it's not gonna,
You can always
this situation is dealt with.
you can accept it. And yeah, I understand that, but um, I think accepting it to help with you not blowing up and always internalizing it. Pluto.
Yeah, I gotta do a better job
Well,
at least expressing it and not having to.
internalizing it won't help. So, I lost my train of thought.
This
Um,
idol.
Thought stopper.
Intruder. Intruder.
Intruder
what were
alert.
you just saying earlier?
A cycle.
Continue.
Acceptance.
Accepting, yeah, coming to acceptance, whatever, and then helping to help with your internalizing the situation and not getting stressed. Yes, that's great. But in terms of fixing the situation, I think
Sorry, say that again. Just
Constant reminder.
constant reminder is needed. Um, Even if things aren't going to be done, like just don't do it. Eventually, the persons will have to do it if you continuously remind them. Do you remember when there was like a bunch of stuff here when I came back from Toronto and there's a like I got really frustrated. I took everything apart. I made it so it was easier for everybody to do the task that I wanted them to do. I made the barrier to clean the thing one less. So I tore everything out. I picked everything out, split it between this is your stuff, your stuff, your stuff. You do this, you do this, you do this. On top of that, I constantly reminded, hey, let's get this done by this day, whatever. If it didn't get done by this day next. And I was always constantly up on um, your guys' ass essentially.
mm-hmm.
And you know that you were like, okay, I'll get this done by this day, and then to a certain point, like you, I think one time you didn't get it done, and I didn't get frustrated, but I just put it in your room because I know that you're,
Books. It was just the books.
yeah, and I know that you weren't, you don't like that. It's not for your space. It's taking up space. So if if in my mindset, it's like if you put it in front of you and you see it all the time, you're gonna do it. Because if it's not in front of you, you're not gonna think about it, and it's not gonna be in your mind, and you're not gonna ever go do it because it's like out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. So um, that's like what how I did it. So I feel like if you do there's anything that you need me to do, I tell Dad this all the time. He gets frustrated with the recycling stuff and the boxing and the folding boxes and the folding and stuff, right? And I told him just leave it there, remind, and maybe make the barrier of getting the thing done one less. Just think about it. Eventually, it'll be done and we'll build a habit on it. But if you're always doing it and you're just getting mad, it's like, what's the point?
Well, that's the thing. It's like part of when I say about acceptance is that, like, you've gone past that anger,
Yeah.
and that you're willing to do it at that point,
Yeah.
right? That's why it's just like, but it's like
Sometimes
if
not
you
being willing. It's more or less just getting the task done.
and then
Sometimes these tasks, it's you're not willing to do it. You do it so that it gets completed.
and yeah, and then you have that satisfactory and stuff like that. But it's just that, like, if you know that it's still there, and like you mentioned about internalizing it, then it's like the solution like you've suggested was, which is like, you know, being consistent of reminders.
Hmm.
And
And making it
it's not
easier.
just reminders for like yourself but the people around you and stuff. And also know, like you mentioned, that you have that leeway of, okay, if they don't um, meet that deadline or meet that expectation of yours, that you don't
Blow up.
blow up even more.
Catastrophize.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like, you know,
Everyone has a life. They're busy, and
you've
yeah.
taken the initiative to plan something further to address the situation. But if your solution is making the matters worse, then like there's no point.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So like, also be prepared to know that it could go south as well.
I'm always thinking that it's always gonna go south.
But that's so like,
Pessimistic.
yeah.
But that helps me because it's
Then you're constantly
the
in that like negative mindset. You see everything like that.
not a negative viewpoint. It's more or less like if something goes bad, I have a backup plan. So I'm thinking of a backup plan. So if like
It's okay to have a backup plan, but also hope that things go right and
of
properly.
course, yeah, that is number one. Like, you know, from A to B.
No.
But if A
Stop.
has to go to C in order to get to the B, I'll have a plan C. If there's a plan D that needs to be, implemented, then I'll have that. It's of course everybody wants that what A to B right off the bat. That's most ideal. But
In my opinion,
but
there's nothing you can plan for. Everything is always
no,
changing.
you definitely cannot. Of course, like a bird can fly into your windshield. You're not gonna ever plan for that, right? Right. Exactly. Or like a pin, like
Yeah. But it's
yeah.
just how you react in that moment and how you deal with that situation is what's most important. But planning and always, oh, maybe the worst of this might happen, but actually something even more fucked up could happen and you didn't plan for it. And then how are you going to react to that? But hoping and then but also thinking, oh, maybe this is good, but then something even better happens, then that's great.
That would be a plus.
Yeah.
If something bad happens, even worse than what I expected it to happen, I feel like I've closed the gap of the that worst side. That like yeah, for example, that bird flying in, right? What happens if it's like you hit somebody instead, or somebody like you know doesn't see something in you and like they hit into you, like you know.
No, no,
But like I've expected something bad to happen, so it's like okay, I can
yeah.
assess the situation as opposed to oh I'm all hunky dory, I'm all I expect everything to go, and then when it just hits the fan, how are you going to react in that moment?
But
So it's like a little bit of both, but not to a point where you guys think that it's like, oh, I'm always thinking negative. Like, no, that's not definitely the worst way to live, because then you would be in constant fear for the rest of your life. But to just, have
Like
alternative
for example,
solutions.
though, like you say that, like, you know, you do think about the
Worst
worst
situation.
situation,
Mm-hmm.
so that because you do that, like you would agree that you've prepared yourself, right? But why is that still affecting your frustration when it comes to dealing with mom and dad or like the rental stuff? You know, like if you say that you've prepared yourself for something that to go horrible or not well, and you've already prepared yourself for that, and it does happen, but yet you still let out, you know, you still let out that emotion onto them. So I get it what you're saying, but like the behavior is still there, right? And maybe practice of like, okay, since I feel this way and I have this type of mindset, I should use it in towards my as an advantage of okay, expressing, you know, externally towards the people around me.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's also like I'll plan for that worst thing to happen, and then
Pluto, what do you want today? Jesus, he's so vocal.
it's up pretty early, and he wants to trying to get
Come here.
some time to just hang out.
It'll go through like phases of like haircuts,
Yeah,
and it looks like a super like collie or like becomes like a super
fat. You show him
fluffy
looking
poodle or something.
cloud.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to say is like the self-fulfilling prophecy. What you kind of manifest becomes reality sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So um, it's good to prepare yourself, understand the risks,
Yeah,
but like constantly like looking out for that that thorn, you'll run into that thorn
I think
because if you're always
but
constantly
if I
thinking
run
about it.
into it, I'll be
But if you don't think about
prepared.
it, you have a higher chance of not running into it. But
think
then knowing yourself that you can react well when that thorn actually does hit is
A
what
different story too.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also stems from having heavy anxiety. I'm always constantly thinking about that.
Bro.
Yeah.
Cause I like, I'm sure a lot of people, for example, there's an example that a lot of people like maybe will
Well, come here.
look forward to like maybe a vacation to like be in the moment, but it's,
Oh, sorry.
oh, but then for
Jeez.
me, he's pissed. I guess for me, it's like in a way I almost count down the days that I have left, so it's like I think of the other way.
Yeah. You gotta think cup half full, not half empty.
Yeah, because I
And
just plan so much for any changes in like the future that
You know, it's like
keeps me.
you know how much we say like, oh yeah, mom and dad is always so cautious of the future and they prepare so much. And I think like
That's
I think that like it comes you get it from them and stuff like
yeah.
that. But then you also remind them that like you should live your life too,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you're telling them that too, you should also practice that,
Yeah.
right? It's just like, you know, you only have one life, and if you're constantly always being prepared for the worst or something that's gonna happen and stuff,
what kind
then
of life is that?
what? Yeah, what kind of life is that?
Ah, no.
Yeah, I think it's like I do try to live.
Pluto. This whole time, this entire podcast is just him bitching.
Yeah. Guess I was trying to say is I do try to live a lot of. I try to balance it out as much as I can now, but I think it's just innate nature and just the constant anxiety that kind of pushes me over to that stage.
What causes that anxiety? Is there stuff that you've kind of dug into it and try to figure out?
Maybe
Your
just a
voice
ton of,
always cracks.
maybe it's just a lot of
It's like you haven't hit puberty yet.
maybe too much on the plate and so much I want to do that's like too much to juggle probably, so I do have to start putting stuff down and saying no. But I'm starting to build a better routine so I
That's good.
don't get so anxious certain things, but
I think I think your anger and your frustration comes from like your
anxiety heavily.
Yeah.
Because then it's like a kettle, and then at one point I just blow up. But there's always, it's a good thing that I always have, I know, a lane or Yeah.
I have some stuff about anxiety, but
We can save
I'll
that for
say another time.
Well, we
another
can talk.
time.
Yeah, we can talk about
Oh
anxiety
yeah,
in a
anxiety
different
could be like a
podcast.
full month. Don't
Like
even get me
I don't have
started.
it as much anymore. It's like I've done some stuff, whatever, to help with it, but we'll talk about it later. Quickly, quick pet peeve I wanted to say for you, like I mentioned yesterday at the dinner,
Mm.
you're very loud when you come in. You like to announce that you're home just for Pluto,
I'm home.
and then like through your bike, you bring your bike in. You're very rough with it, and I can see Dad's face
Yeah.
when you jam the pedal into like the doorway or whatever, and like hits the thing. You're not even phased. You just boom,
Yeah.
and you keep going. And Dad's face is like,
Yeah. No, I've seen it. I've seen it a few times. I've
or
definitely seen it
or
a
he
few
like
times.
he sees it.
I think
He
it's a.
looks at me. He's like, "You gonna say something?"
Yeah. No.
I'm like,
Did you see that?
bro, I'm just crazy. And
Yeah.
then like the door, it swings open, it slams. The
Hmm.
door handle
Yeah,
thing.
like when you leave, when the door closed, it's not just like door closed. It's the entire fucking the
The
window is
wall.
like just fucking you know.
I guess I assume that upstairs doesn't hear it as much, and since you've been gone for like 6 months, this whole area was just kind of like me. So I'm like, okay, I literally don't have to be aware of your presence. So when you do come out of the door, sometimes I'm like, oh shit, right, he's back, and then I'm like, yeah, of course, I feel terrible. And like for example, because when I think you're asleep, you're like asleep, but you have
I'm a very light
you
sleeper.
yeah. I gotta always remind myself that you're always a light sleeper, and I sleep like a goddamn lollipop.
Yeah, but you also have to be mindful. Like it's just like practicing good habits of like when it comes to moving. You don't have to like okay,
Move things, be quietly for the sake of others, but like
just for
just for
yourself too.
yourself.
Yeah, just for
Like
myself, because
like
I'm a very rough person. Like I'll even buy certain things with that extra heavy duty feature because I'm like I'm just like oh it's okay, whatever. Materialistic thing, I don't care. But it's a bad habit to
like
have,
what if you move
absolutely.
out? What if
Yeah.
you move out with your girlfriend or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
your
Wife,
eventually and your wife in the
yeah.
future? You have
They'll be
kids.
so
They'll be
upset.
so mad at you
So
know.
mad, yeah. So mad. Wife will get out.
But you are pretty good with like when I tell you
Just that one today.
to like quiet down or like to turn off a light or
Oh
like
yeah,
whatever,
I do
like
it
you
immediately
do it
because I
immediately.
know right away. I'm like, oh okay, like that's a breaking point, and
Yeah.
I don't want to be an inconvenience and a
No, I think
burden. So
we
like
respect each other when it comes to like.
immediate.
No, it's like when we tell each other, "Yo, like it's too loud," and I'm like, "Okay, fine, fine,
Because we
okay."
know it's like it's getting there. It's
It's
getting
getting
there.
there. Yeah, it's getting there, and because we've had the perspective of the other way, where it's like we're upset.
I don't think we've ever like even when we were younger, we weren't like, "No, fuck you, I'm just gonna make it louder." I don't think we were.
Despite the other person,
Yeah,
No,
I don't
just to
think.
annoy the other
no,
person.
just
I don't
well,
think
we do it maybe out of
ever.
humor and just as a joke
I
for
did
like
to
two
you when I was
seconds.
younger.
I don't
I
remember.
yeah, she would be like,
Dad gets
stop,
so
and then
choked.
you would shit start just for fun, and then like
I'll do it
yeah,
just because they said don't do it in a very rude tone, or like you say it in a very rude
rude
tone.
tone, yeah,
And
attitude.
I'm like,
It's like
bitch, I'm gonna
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
continue this,
yeah,
man. You
yeah,
don't
yeah.
ask me, you don't
It's
say
like a
please.
yeah, it's a
I think
tonality
it
and
was like you're
attitude.
gaming or something. I forgot. I don't remember.
Probably, yeah.
No, I think I remember it was like I was studying, I was doing some homework, and I was like tapping my foot or like shaking, making a noise, and you're like, can you stop shaking the
Oh,
table?
I remember that now. I
I was
remember
like,
that. It was upstairs.
yeah, it was upstairs.
Because you were singing on one end and I was singing the other end.
Yeah, I was doing work, and then
Yeah.
I was like, the fuck, man? I'm just minding my own business, doing my work. You just
And
scream
you're
at
shaking
me,
the table.
and then I was like, fucking do it even harder. And then
But
Dad
you did it
saw
on
me. He's like,
purpose.
hey, she told you to stop. And he got so choked at me.
No, but I know when you become like joking about it because you're grinning at me and you fucking shake the entire thing. But like it was just like in my head I'm thinking, this motherfucker is like considerate. Like does he not see the whole table is shaking?
No, I was
And
focusing
also I'm
on
like,
my own.
how is he writing when the whole table is shaking?
Yeah. But yeah, okay, we'll end it off on that. Now that you're less busy now, we can start planning some other things.
Yeah.
Like you said, you would. We would. Um,
Don't give me that look.
so goes back to the accountability thing when I am asking you guys to help out. So
Yeah, I know. I've already prepared myself for it.
yeah,
All right.
let's go.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.